What's up, dudes and dudes here? Now my name's Scyushi, and we are back in. I just bit my tongue. So we finally have the community letter. We're halfway through the month already, so I honestly didn't know that they were still going to end up doing this, but I assume that they were just trying to wait for the Shadows Eve event, which I'm assuming is coming next week. I haven't read through any of this because I like doing it with you guys. I mean, at least it looks like we're gonna get a bard costume, a mount, and I'm assuming that might be an ally. But anyways, they go on to say that the shadows are alive and exciting this month. Shadows Eve returns, community events await, and new surprises are creeping closer. As a quick reminder, I will probably not be able to complete the entirety of the event. Who knows? Because maybe I'll just be able to do it before I go on my trip. Join us at a look back at recent highlights. So they give us a little bit of a recap with the block update and stuff. And, you know, obviously yesterday they ended up putting out the, or a couple days ago, they put out the survey, which I posted about. They talk about the backpack blunder mount from the Twitch drops, which I never got. I'm sorry. Nobody really cared that much about it. And then we're doing things a little different this time. Instead of our usual Q&A, we're using this space to talk about something that's been at the center of many conversations: fair play, third-party tools, and what we're doing about them. I love the transparency. It's a little disappointing that they're not just going to end up replying to a bunch of our Q&A questions from players. But as we've seen, those are kind of like hit or miss. You know, it's very difficult to nail down like a proper question that should end up, you know, because we're not interviewers. But anyway, they said that there's a lot of feedback since our last post, from worries about duping, exploiting, questions about mods, and honestly, it's a bunch of stuff that I've probably answered in live streams, but let's get into it. So a bigger step against unfair play. So we know that simply reacting to duping and exploiting isn't enough, and we're not happy just chasing problems after they happen. Good, thank you. That's why we're looking into deeper long-term solutions to tackle these issues at their root. This includes exploring new ways to prevent unfair advantages and talking with partners about how to improve things behind the scenes. We're not ready to share details just yet, then why are you talking about it? But one thing is clear, we're exploring new ways to address these issues more efficiently or effectively. We had hoped it wouldn't come to this, but community feedback shows us the deeper action is necessary. So what I would speculate that is, you know, as always, hackers ruin games for everybody, because unfortunately it means that they're gonna have to probably put in a bunch of arbitrary rule sets and stuff that's essentially going to end up affecting all of us in a negative way, but long term will have the positive side effect of hopefully dealing with the root problem of the dupers and such. So then they end up having a section talking about mods. I assume this is just going to clarify the question that a lot of more recent players have been asking, which is, oh, can I get banned for this mod, or did I get banned for this mod? No, more than likely you got banned because you bought like a bunch of duped crap off the market. Like there's a point where a lot of you guys will end up commenting about like, I was unfairly banned, but then, and I'm not trying to undermine it, but most times, more often than not, when I do a little bit of digging, it usually is like, oh no, you got banned for a reason. Okay, but you know, I'm not saying that there aren't still problems with the ban system right now, but anyways, they say mods are part of the Trove experience, and in general, their use is tolerated, but the mod itself is rarely the problem. It's how it's used that matters. A tool that helps you accept invites isn't an issue by itself, but if it's used to join exploitative activities, that becomes a problem. So like bots automatically joining in. You guys have seen it, those scumbags that all have their tank turtles on the night, and they just, one host is running ahead while all the bots join up on them. We already know that's against terms of service, but it still happens. So the same goes for other mods. So opening boxes faster isn't a problem by itself, but if those boxes were obtained through duping, it is. I don't know if that's necessarily okay. Another example is boss radar mods. Highlighting where bosses are is generally fine, but if a mod goes further and makes walls transparent to reveal things you shouldn't normally see, that crosses the line. I have heard about mods like that. I don't know why you would ever use them. I guess just because you're a dirtbag in real life and so you cheat in video games. Let's be real, the people that cheat are the people that try to cheat in real life and take the easy way out, rather than actually realizing that anything worth doing is hard. So, you know, that's an analogy for life, not just video games. But features like repeatedly crafting items, leveling up your gems, or switching a full tome are convenient and generally fine. However, if they're used to bypass core systems, for instance, to avoid the AFK timer or keep the game running without any player input, that's where they cross the line. You see that, guys? AFK farms are technically not allowed. I personally don't like doing AFK farms in games because I agree it's not playing the game anymore. But when you're asking players to grind like 800 hours for dragon coins, for example, of course people are going to try and find the easiest method of doing it, which in most cases will just be going AFK or whatever. It just... Anyways, what do you guys think about that? I think it's a little bit of a controversial issue because I think that I wholeheartedly agree with the developers, but at the same time, that means that they need to look at themselves in the mirror and try to realize, why are people trying to disengage from these core systems? Or maybe they just ended up phrasing this incorrectly and they're more specifically targeting like people that are using exploitative means of AFK rather than people that are just chilling in dungeons and stuff. And the irony is that you don't even need to have mods to beat the AFK timer because you can just attack and like tab out of the game and then your character is just gonna keep attacking. Actually, I think that actually does log you out now, but anyways, it doesn't matter. So let's move on. This is why we can't give a definitive yes or no list for the mods and stuff. What's acceptable today might change if it starts being used in ways that harm the game or give unfair advantages. I agree. As a player, it's your responsibility to consider the context, the potential consequences of using any mod. Again, most people that say, I was banned incorrectly. Well, as we've seen, if you ended up buying like thousands of duped items and then you proceed to use mods to open those thousands of boxes very fast, yeah. So we don't officially support mods, but we tolerate them within these boundaries and we expect every player to make mindful or thoughtful decisions about how they use them. Personally, I think that they should just nip it in the butt and just take some of the biggest like mods that are almost a requirement for playing this game, and they should just add that into the core game so that you guys on console would, you know, have those things. Because players in video games especially are always going to end up finding the easiest road, the path of least resistance. And I mean, arguably that's what people mostly do in life. That's just how people are. And a lot of these mods are most of all utilized out of conveniences. That's what I use them for anyways, and generally most people that I talk to. But I can totally see somebody going down the dark road a little too far. So we appreciate all your feedback and we'll keep an eye on things as we work to get the game in a better state. Remember, if you're unsure whether a mod tool crosses the line, the safest choice is just not to use it. So then they mentioned that the Shadow's Eve event returns October 21st to November 4th. I might be able to grind the event. I probably won't be able to max everything out though, but we'll see. They do also mention that the public test server will be waking up soon, giving you a first look at what's coming next and a chance to share your feedback before the changes are made into the game. Unfortunately, during that aspect of the game, I will probably be away. Maybe I can ask my guy and get like some hints as to what the test server is going to be and whether or not I can talk about it in a scheduled video before I leave. But anyways, this video has been a little bit ranty. Frankly speaking, I agree with them to a point. I think that this is a much larger issue. Like obviously, you know, the duping and stuff, totally 100% agree with them in there. But as far as like people just, you know, playing out the AFK timer and stuff, like I understand where they're coming from, but I just kind of disagree with their mentality behind it, where it's like the player is being punished for not spending money on the game essentially. Because that's, you know, let's be real, that's what it basically boils down to, is you spend money to skip things and skip progression. Oh wait, all of the most annoying things in the game don't actually have a method of pay to win. You still got to put in the grind time. So why does it take such an absurd amount of time? That's my 2 cents. Thanks for watching though, guys. Appreciate it. Smash like, sub for more. Buy the merch you want to support the channel. Have a wonderful day.